Hey mate, do you have trouble touching your toes? Do you feel like your hamstrings are stopping you, or even your lower back won't let you get any closer to that? Well, after trying these 3 exercises, you're going to get ever so closer to them, and you may even touch your toes after trying these. But all these exercises, no stretching is included in there. Let's get on with it. What's really the main focus in all 3 of these exercises is getting the core to work, okay? So rather than what most people are told to do, which is to stretch your hamstrings, your calves, your back line, your back muscles, we're actually focusing on the other side of your body, because a lot of the time when we're trying to touch our toes, it's not that our hamstrings and back is tight. It's just that our core or the other side of our body isn't contracting enough. Because if we contract one side of the body, that means the other side has to relax. So if we think of it as another way, as our tricep and bicep, for me to flex my bicep, my tricep needs to completely relax, right? Because if I'm trying to bend my bicep and my triceps trying to contract at the same time, what happens is if I pull here, even if I just pull that together, my muscle wants to go that way, okay? So it's basically, you got the agonist and antagonist relationship. So for one side to flex, the other side has to relax. So if we think as basically this as your hamstrings and this as your core, what we want to teach you to do is switch on that core. So turn on that bicep muscle, let that come up, but also relax your hamstrings and your back muscles so that you can use your core to pull your body into that position. And that's what all 3 of these exercises will do. So for this first one, we're focusing on belly breathing. And what happens when we get our belly breathing down pat is we're getting our core fired up a lot more than if we were chest breathing. So all you need for this one is a box or a bench or even a wall, so that you can get a 90-90 with your knees, okay? So this one's a little bit higher than usual. Otherwise, if you're on a wall, you end up looking something like this. That's perfectly fine. Otherwise, rest them up on a bench, okay? So we want palms out, so like that. Okay, so really open up that chest, and we're just going to practice breathing into our belly. If you're someone that's always used to breathing into our chest, that means it hollows out in your stomach and there's not really much going on here, okay? If we're breathing into a full big belly, that means the muscles in there are actually working, and that's that area of our body, it's stable, so it can let the rest of your body relax, okay? As you breathe out, what we want to do is actually push the belly back out, because what we don't want to do is breathe in like that and then relax our belly, and then there's nothing going on there. We want to keep that belly stable at all times, even when breathing in and even when we're breathing out, okay? Especially if we're lifting heavy things like in a deadlift or a barbell squat. We don't want this position compromised. Otherwise we could fold and we're going to lift less and it's going to be not as safe. So what we'll do is we have our hands on top of our belly here. Once we get a bit better, we can have them on the sides, because eventually what we'll do is we'll breathe into the belly, but also into the sides and also the back, okay? So you can start off here and then slowly progress to having your hands on the side here, okay? So with the side, what you do is you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds and then breathe out for 6 seconds, okay? All I want here is that the breath out to be a lot longer than the breath in, okay? So you're taking a breath in through the nose, so it'd be like, and then as you breathe out, you want to imagine you're blowing up a balloon. So you've got to use your tummy muscles to blow up a balloon, right? So you take that breath in, and then you breathe out, you go, and what that does is makes you push your stomach out to the front, and then push your stomach out to the sides, and then make it a long breath out. So going, and then big breath in, and then out. So what happens here, more air that you push out of your tummy the more air that you'll be able to suck back in to your stomach. So make sure to spend a couple of minutes before you move on to the next session. I would say at least spend 2 to 3 minutes just breathing in and breathing out and really focusing on activating that core as you're doing it. Okay, so for this next one, it works on getting your hips in a better position so that your hips can move a bit better. Because a lot of the time, people can't touch their toes and their hamstrings are really tight. It's not that their hamstrings are tight, it's that their hip position makes the hamstrings tight. So if I give you an example, a lot of the time people will walk around and they'll have their hips pointed up like this rather than that way, okay? So what happens here is if I lift my bum up like that, I'm actually making the hamstring tighter by pulling that way. Whereas if I tuck it under, my hamstring actually moves down and it becomes a lot looser, okay? So you can try this on yourself. So you can try to arch your lower back like that and then try to touch your toes and then tuck your bum under. It's a lot easier if you tuck your bum under to try to touch your toes. So what this does is teaches you to have your hip in a good position so that your core can fire up and then let your hips move freely. So what you'll need is a band either tied up around something around the gym. Usually the rack is the easiest way to do things. Something with a handle that can basically get your core fired up. So what you'll do is you have your hands up front here, lying down like so, and you're just going to pull that down to the floor. So what's happened here is actually switched my core on, or if I was like this, it's going to make me want to squash down and tuck my pelvis under, okay? So we're going to pull down like that, and then we're going to lift that leg up like so, and then back down. And you're just going to repeat this for reps. So each time, you've got to bring your arms up, and then bring your arms down, okay? Lifting up like that. So going for about 8 reps each side, okay? And what you should find is when you're pulling this down, if you've got tight hamstrings and your hips are tucking under, this should feel a lot less tight than usual. All right, so now that we've gone through, we've got your core working, we've got your core working with your hips. Now we try to put it all together and start to actually try to touch our toes, okay? So for this one, you're gonna need just something to raise your feet up like this. So it could just be a towel, and then something that you can squeeze between your legs. So that could be another even thicker towel, or usually a foam roller is your best bet for it. So the way this one works is we're really just trying to get our core to fire up, okay? So in this one, we end up squeezing something between our knees, because when we squeeze our adductors together, that automatically just makes our core to switch on, okay? So the way we do this one is you have your feet up on here, like so, foam roller between your legs, and what you're doing here is you're squeezing that really tight, okay? You're probably going to be squeezing your butt in the process to squeeze those together. I'm going to start with our hands overhead, okay? And I want you to reach down and then slowly get a nice rounded spine, and slowly as you go down, the closer you go towards your feet, I want you to squeeze this even more. So you can take a breath in and then breath out. And that would be 1 rep, okay? Then we can go back at the top here, take a breath in, and then breath out, squeezing the box or the foam roller, and trying to get even further each time, okay? All right. The real key here is squeezing this foam roller like hell, okay? It's going to get your core fired up and make you just more able to curl your spine and basically use the strength of your core to bring your body to the floor, okay? Once we've done that side, then we're going to repeat that step for a few reps. The same thing, but with your heels up. So it'll make it feel a little bit easier. So it's the same thing, hands overhead like this, breath in, and then reaching down, breath out, squeezing the foam roller, and then going down, 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 squeezing, 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 and then back up. okay? So you're going to do a bunch of reps of these. So going toes up first, then your heels up, and then back to your toes up, okay? Make sure to squeeze that foam roller as hard as you can and breathe out as you're reaching down to the floor. So there you go. So if you do those 3 exercises in succession after each other, so for example, you could do a couple of minutes with the belly breathing and then moving on the leg raise with core activation. You could do a couple reps on, 8 reps on one side, then 8 reps on the other. Make sure to document if there is one side that is a lot tighter than the other in that situation, so you can double the amount of reps on, say, the left side if that's a lot tighter. Once you've gone through to that, then try to put it together in the toe touch progression. Make sure that you're really squeezing your knees together and breathing out as you're reaching down there. Do this, this circuit a couple of times, and then make sure to retest to see if you can touch your toes or if it feels that little bit easier. If you're finding that you've got real tight hamstrings or you've got lower back pain, make sure to check out my free 7 lifts to bulletproof your body after injury. I'm going to drop that down in the description box below. Otherwise, make sure to give me a thumbs up so other people with tight hamstrings are more likely to see this video. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. My name's Adam and I help you return to the gym and stay there.